पापत्रापनिकृन्तनं तनमितां गोविन्द।
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Prabhupada and his glorious history as the ambassador of truth in the disciplic succession coming from Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And yesterday, we had a very interesting discussion with all of us concerning these principles. And I wanted to thank Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu for reminding us about the appearance of Rupa Goswami, Śrīla Rupa Goswami, one of the acharyas in our disciplic succession. So it is a very valuable thing to understand parampara. This is the essence of the teachings of Krishna consciousness, that it is coming down in disciplic succession without any change. And I want to thank everyone that was participating yesterday in the discussion. It was a very enlivening experience for myself, and I know for everyone else, to penetrate into the truth of the matter in terms of representing Prabhupada as living in sound in the Vani incarnation. And I wanted to read something before we get started into the pastimes. From the Bhagavad Gita. I was studying the Gita this morning, a very wonderful review of Prabhupada's explanations of the truth in every word that he presented, not only when he spoke, but even more vividly in his writings, because speech goes quickly, we watch it and then carry on with life. But when you read something, when you study it, you get a very deep understanding of what the guru, what the spiritual master is trying to convey to his disciple. And this is from the Gita, text 4 and 5, the opulence of the absolute, and in the purport. I'm going to read from the purport, page 497. Asammoha, freedom from doubt and delusion, can be achieved when one is not hesitant and when he understands the transcendental philosophy. Slowly but surely he becomes free from bewilderment. Nothing should be accepted blindly. Everything should be accepted with care and with caution. Shama, forgiveness should be practiced, and one should excuse the minor offenses of others. Satyam, truthfulness, means that facts should be presented as they are for the benefit of others. Facts, not fiction, not concoction. Facts should not be misrepresented, Prabhupada says. According to social conventions, it is said that one can speak the truth only when it is palatable to others, according to social conventions. But that is not truthfulness. The truth should be spoken in a straight and forward way so that others will understand actually what the facts are. If a man is a thief and people are warned that he is a thief, that is the truth. Although sometimes the truth is unpalatable, one should not refrain from speaking it. Truthfulness demands that the facts be presented as they are for the benefit of others, and this is the definition of truth. Very deep insight into understanding the position that the Prabhupada Disciples Association takes when we speak of no compromise. Because the truth may not be accepted by others, and that may be unpalatable to them, but it's not spoken out of anger. No, not at all. The facts must be presented. And what is that we are working diligently with our group to protect the legacy of Śrīla Prabhupada in his books, in his lectures, in his letters, and in his mercy. In order to invoke the mercy of the spiritual master, one has to be 100% focused on him, Rupa Manjari, focused on Śrīla Prabhupada as the mercy representative of Śrīla Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada. This disciplic succession, this parampara system is exact and precise. There is no compromise. And this is very important to understand. And that is why we're moving forward in Mexico in February of this year, or next year. Time is marching, 2025. We're going to be performing or holding an initiation ceremony there. And that initiation is to help the devotees in Mexico become Prabhupada disciples. Yes, because Prabhupada is still living with us. He's living on every aspect in his murti, in his books, etc. And so, can people still be initiated by Śrīla Prabhupada? Yes, they can. That is a fact. And what is initiation? A commitment by the serious seeker of the truth to follow the mission of Śrīla Prabhupada into the future. And that's the purpose of these initiations, to provide more Prabhupada disciples, Pure Angelo, more Prabhupada disciples for the future of the history, for mankind. This is a very important aspect, not having all these people that are taking these roles of Diksha Gurus and initiating people, and their so-called disciples are going to carry this legacy. It doesn't make sense. Not for this serious-minded disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. Not for the serious person that is committed to this process. The first requirement for initiation is, Prabhupada explains it like this: you have to be very serious about spiritual life. Very serious. Otherwise, what's the purpose of taking initiation? It's not a fad. It's not a ritual. Actually, initiation takes place from within the heart. In other words, a person develops a desire to step forward, Rupa Manjari, to become more committed to Śrīla Prabhupada and the association of devotees that are serious about following his process. It is not a formal initiation to make a show. It is a commitment internally. And the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, is here to facilitate that opportunity for people to take up the mission of protecting Prabhupada's legacy. Yes, the legacy is the most important thing in his books, non-change books. Like, for example, our goal is to print books in Italian, original books with Vijaya Pandit in Italy and Bhakti Jad in France. We're moving forward for publishing the original Bhagavad Gita. And we're moving forward to print books with Krishna Kishore in Mexico. And we're planning, and we're moving ahead, by the way, with a very good results in the publishing, where we've had this project. These books that we originally planned to print, the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam Delhi version, were being done with the BBTI. Now, somehow or other, they got encumbered in situation. But originally, the person that I was working with had told us we'd probably get the books around October of this year because of the situation with paper and this and that, and the circumstances in India that go into publishing or printing books. So we're still on target, and we're looking forward to having those done by October at any rate. And so this will be hopefully sooner, and we'll send out the 120 books that we've committed to our people that have donated for this GoFundMe campaign for printing and publishing these books. And at the same time, we still will have, our goal is to have many, many more sets of books, 1,500 to 2,000 sets of books available for distribution into the worldwide community, which we're going to call upon your help to distribute everyone. If you look at our ending class, you'll see that we've appointed or we've accepted so many different branch offices, not temples, branch offices. That means groups or individuals that are participating in our program that want to be part of this distribution, this Sankirtan process, this distribution of truth to other people. And this is very progressive and very dynamic in a real way. We're starting with the expansion, and let it grow gradually as time goes on. Let it expand. Let the true, sincere people that want to serve Śrīla Prabhupada and his mission and his legacy join us and enjoy this opportunity to be part of the ecstasy of preaching work that Śrīla Prabhupada brought to the Western world and to the whole world during his mission. Oh, yes. And just before I finish up here and we'll go to the readings, I had a chance, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, to look at the wonderful video this morning that was published by Gargamuni of Prabhupada in Bombay. This story about Prabhupada opening the Bombay temple. And it is just a wonderful, wonderful video. And I highly recommend that all of you go and watch this video. I put it up on our Prabhupada Disciples Association Facebook group page, which we have 22,000 members, 22,000, and we're approaching 100,000 views on our Hare Krishna Society YouTube page. So all kinds of results, not big, but better than nothing. Something is always better than nothing. So we're moving forward. And next year, this time, I'm going to be happy to announce we have 45,000 members and 500,000 views. So lots of things in the works. And if you're interested in helping and being part of this, please be in touch with us and see what kind of service you can bring forward to propagate this mission of serving Śrīla Prabhupada by protecting his legacy, which is our mission. No compromise, none. I apologize if people are concerned about that, but it's not done out of anger, it's not done out of hatred, it is done out of concern to protect our spiritual master's mission. That is our mission. Okay, so enough of that. I have all these notes I make to try to see, but we have time. It's moving on, and we want to move on to the readings. So we'll go to that right away. The Prabhupada pastimes in his diaries. And we'll show the picture, first of all, for our hostess here, yeah. We'll show the picture, first of all, of Prabhupada on the boat and being protected by all of these demigods. So here, if you recall, yesterday we were reading where Prabhupada suffered the heart attack. And then in the pastime, in this dialogue, he's explaining how Krishna protected him with all of his demigods, etc., on his journey across the ocean to America. And moving forward, we'll see Prabhupada getting off the boat here. There he is, such a beautiful painting there. Prabhupada descending. So glorious remembrance of a person that was not fearful of anything, not worried about anything, except to carry out the order of his spiritual master, period. Solely fixed. And we'll move forward. We'll read from the diary now. So I'm just going to read Vinkat Bhatta Prabhu, this bottom page, the next section we read yesterday, and then we'll go to the next excerpt. So, yes, at that time I was at 2nd Avenue. So then Roy Ram took the help of a lawyer. He took the case that he'll give me permanent residence. So he was extending only. And each time he was taking $150. So in this way, I entered in 1965, September up till July. No, up to May. And in May month, there was a heart stroke. And Hari Sori says, so that was when? 67. So again, Prabhupada had more physical hardship. And we'll go to, I did read this yesterday, Prabhu, so we'll go to the next room conversation. Thank you. Excerpt from a room conversation with His Divine Grace in Vrindavan on September 9th, 1976. So everyone, please listen carefully to these words from Śrīla Prabhupada, because as soon as the ship stopped, Prabhupada says at Commonwealth Pier, Boston, the immigration department came and took the papers. So I entered America in Boston. There was no checking in New York. The ship stopped in Boston. The official entrance was done there, but when I came to New York, it is just like one day's travel. And then Hare Krishna asked him, and then you went directly to Pennsylvania by bus? Prabhupada, yes. Then one agent appointed by my host, Gopal Agarwal, he was in Butler, Pennsylvania. So he arranged with some professional, what is called host, Harikesh, travel agent, Prabhupada, maybe travel agent. He came to see me. Then I am sent by Mr. Gopal Agarwal, so I'll arrange for your dispatch. You come with me. And Dr. Agarwal was your sponsor? Prabhupada, yes. His father came to see me sometime in Agra. So Prabhupada's relating back when he was in India. His father, mother came. Then they suggested that he be your sponsor. Prabhupada, it was all by chance. I was for a few days guest at his father's place in Agra. I did not know that his son is in America. So he was talking about his family. He was a little sorry that his eldest son went to America to study electric engineering and was entrapped by an English girl. And he married and was settled there and did not come back in this way. So I took the opportunity, Prabhupada says, that why don't you ask your son to sponsor me? I wanted to go to America, so I did not know how seriously he took it, but I simply told him that. Why don't you ask your son to sponsor me at least for 1 month? So I'm thinking going to America. Then that was talking beginning and end. That's all. I did not know that he took it very seriously. Then after 2-3 months, some documents came and I was receiving letters, my letters in post box. Haribo, amazing. Just passing in conversation. And then Krishna takes the leadership role, and then the letter came. So when I left Delhi, I used to keep my key of postbox with some nice bookseller, Atmaram. He was manager. So he got the documents. That is no objection certificate. Sponsor and everything. I was out of Delhi. Then when I came back, I took it, so everything was there, the sheet distinct from Indian consulate, no objection certificate. Then I applied for passport, and this way I had to go. So Gopal was unknown to me, but his father was. His father was known to me. His father was. Then his agent got me on the bus. So the bus went to Pennsylvania, to Butler. Hari, sorry, that's a long drive. Yes, 9 hours, Prabhupada says, on the bus. And I took a little chip rice and whatever I had with me. So I got down from the ship about 1 o'clock, and then I had to wait for the bus till 5 o'clock. Then at 5 o'clock, the bus started, and at 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning, I went to Pennsylvania. Just in front of the bus, Gopal was standing with his car, what is called van car, station wagon, Harishore, he says. Prabhupada, yes, station wagon. He took my luggage, and from there, 30 miles off to Butler County, so I went there. Then at night, he took the next day, he had no many rooms in his apartment, so he arranged for me to stay at the YMCA nearby. You never actually stayed with him then? Prabhupada, I was taking my meals there. Hari, sorry, just keeping a room at the YMCA, because he had no room, Prabhupada says. I was staying there. Hari, sorry, what then he arranged programs, speaking programs. Prabhupada, his wife, Sally, she was arranging a very intelligent girl. They were of the same age, about 30. Gopal was more than 30, and she was indistinct. I saw there that she was feeding her child, one boy, great meat powder, beef bouillon. I do not know what is the name, Prabhupada says, but I asked. She said, it's meat powder. That is the system. Sorry. When they were young and they can't eat solids with hot water, Prabhupada said, yes. They have given instant meals for children, all different kinds. Prabhupada says, so Gopal was very much pleased that he could get some Indian chapatis like this. And Hari, sorry, so you had to cook for them? You took your cooker with you? Is that the same one? No, Prabhupada says, so I lived with them for 21 days, then I came to New York. Hari, sorry, yes, this picture in Butler Eagle, it's in the Vyas Puja book this year. Prabhupada, yes, Butler County, it is good. There are many churches. People have got many churches. Sometime there was one piece of wire lying in one place, one piece of bamboo was lying in one place, and one dry shell of squash was lying. So one intelligent man collected, so this dry shell became the tampura, what is it called? I don't know, like sound chamber, what do you call it? Sound chamber may be called. So with that dry squash, he made the sound chamber. The bamboo he fixed up and the wire on it. Then it became a tin. The organization is like that. I was loitering in the street. Somebody was over there, somebody was there, not combined together. International Society String Band. Yes, separately we are all useless, eh? A very deep message here. Thank you very much, everyone, for attending the program today. We very much appreciate it. And we'll move forward with the chanting of Jaya Radha Madhava by Śrīla Prabhupāda, and then the reading and discussion from the original Delhi Bhagavatams with Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu in California. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you, everyone.
Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Yaśodā-nandana Brajajana Ranjana Jamuna Tira Banachari Jamuna Tira Banachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jai Amasvat Paramahansa Parivrajaga-ācārya Sattare Sarasmāda Bhaktivedanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupāda ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnava ki Jai Nāma-ācārya Śrī Haridas Thakur ki Jai Prem se kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Śrī Advaita Gadādhara Śrīvāsādhi Gaur Bhaktivinoda ki Jai Śrī Radha Krishna Gopinath Sam Khanda Radha Khanda Giridhar ki Jai Vrindavan Dham ki Jai Navadvip Dham ki Jai Ganga Mai की जाए जमुना माई की जाए गुरु द्वारका धाम की जाए स्वामी तो भक्तविंद की जाए और ग्लोरी से All glories to Yaśoda. Thank you very much.
All glories to you, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Glories to you, Prabhupada.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. O my Lord, Sri Krishna, the son of Vasudeva, the all-pervading personality of Godhead, I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Narayanam namaskrityam. Narayanam namaskrityam. Naram cheva narottamam. Naram cheva narottamam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam. Devim Saraswatim Vyāsam Tato Jayam Mudirayet. Tato Jayam Mudirayet. One should utter the means of conquest, Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, after offering respectful obeisances, one, to the personality of Godhead, Narayana, two, to the Nara-Narayana Rishi, who is the supermost human being, three, to the Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, then four, to Śrīla Vyāsadeva, the author, from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 1-4. Welcome everyone to this hearing and discussion on Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam. We are very happy that all of you are participating. And for those of you who are not directly on the Zoom call, who are listening on YouTube or listening later, you're also always welcome. As we do every week, we will be reciting and reading a few selected verses from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, first canto, second chapter, where it is described the meaning and the benefit of hearing this great, powerful, transcendental literature. Trinvatam svakata Krishna punyastravana kirtanaham hridyantas tohya badrani vidunoti surit satam. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is also the Paramatma in everyone's heart, and the benefactor of the truthful devotee, does cleanse the desire for material enjoyment in the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge for hearing his, Krishna's messages, which are themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. Nashta prayesha vabhadrishu nityam bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktira bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in the Bhagavatam class or rendering service unto the pure devotees, all that is inauspicious in the heart of a candidate becomes destroyed almost to nil, and thus loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, comes into being an irrevocable fact. Tadarajastamo bhava kamalo bhadayaschaye chetayetera nabiddam stitam sattve prasidati. As soon as irrevocable loving service is fixed up in one's heart, at that time the effects of the nature's mode of passion and ignorance, such as lust, desire and anchorings, etc., do disappear from one's heart, and he becomes fixed up in the modes of goodness, which makes him completely happy. Evam prasanna manasu bhagavad bhakti yogataha bhagavat tattva vignanam mukta sangasya jayate. Thus, when one is positively fixed up in a mode of unalloyed goodness, the enlivened-minded man affected by contact of devotional service of the Lord can positively know scientific knowledge of the personality of Godhead in the stage of liberation from all material association. Vidyate hridaya grantis chidyante sarva samshaya kshiyante chasya karmani drishtaevatmanishvari. The knot of one's heart is thus pierced, and all misgivings are cut into pieces. The chain of fruitive actions are terminated along with the seeing of oneself, the dominating factor. We will proceed with our reading specifically from Canto 1, Chapter 5, text number 26. All synonyms, translations, and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda, Founder-Ācārya of the International Society for Krishna Consciousness, also known as the Krishna Consciousness Movement. Uchishtale pannadumudo amnumodito dvijaihi sakrit smabunjetadaspashta kilmishaha evam pravirtasya vishuddha chetasas Tadharma eva atma ruchihi prajayati. Uchistalepan, the remnants of foodstuff. Anumoditu, being permitted. Dvijai, by the Vedantist Brahmins. Sakrit, once upon a time. Sma, in the past. Bunje, took. Tad, by that action, apashta, eliminated, kilbishaha, all sins, evam, thus, pravrirtasya, being engaged, vishuddha cetasa, of one whose mind is purified, tad, that particular, dharma, nature, eva, certainly, Atmaruchi, transcendental attraction. Prajayete, became manifested. Translation by Śrīla Prabhupāda. Once only by their permission, I took up the remnants of their foodstuff, and by doing so, all my sins were at once eliminated. Thus being engaged when I became purified by the heart at that time, the very nature of the transcendentalist became attractive for me. Purport. Pure devotional accumulation is as much infectious in good sense as the infectious diseases. A pure devotee is free, is clear, off from all kinds of sins. The personality of Godhead is the purest entity, and as such, unless one is not equally pure form, the infection of material qualities, one cannot become a pure devotee of the Lord. The Bhaktivedantas, as above mentioned, were pure devotees, and the boy became infected with their qualities of purity by their association, and by eating once the remnants of the foodstuff taken by them. Such foodstuff remnants may be taken even without permission of the pure devotees. There are sometimes pseudo-devotees, and one should be very much cautious about them. There are many things which hinders one in the matter of entering in the realism of devotional service, but by the association of pure devotees, all these obstacles are removed. The neophyte devotee becomes practically enriched with the transcendental qualities of the pure devotee, which means attraction for the personality of God, its name, fame, quality, pastimes, etc. Infection of the qualities of the pure devotee means to imbibe in character the taste of pure devotion, always in the transcendental activities of the personality of Godhead. This transcendental taste at once makes all material things distasteful, and therefore a pure devotee is not at all attracted by material activities devoid of relation of the personality of Godhead. After the elimination of all sins or obstacles on the path of devotional service, one can become attracted, one can have steadiness, one can have perfect taste, one can have transcendental emotions, and at last, one is situated on the plane of loving service of the Lord. All these stages develop by the association of the pure devotee, and that is the purport of this stanza. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Gurave Namah Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Prestaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shanyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Bhakti Siddhanta Shishyaya Bhaktivedanta Namine Prasannaya Prashantaya Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Bhagavad Vandanam Kadyam Guru Vandana Purvakam Kshiram Sharkara Yuktam Kadate Hi Visheshatah Adadhanastrinam Danteridam Yache Punaha Punaha Śrīmad Padam Bhoja Dhulisyam Janma Janmani Amsho Bhagavatusmyaham Sadadaso Asmi Sarvata Tat Kripa Pikshako Nityam Tat Prishta Sadkaromi Svam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadara Sri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrindam Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. In the Sri Ishopanishad, there is mentioned the Sanskrit word to describe the Lord Krishna, is called apapavidam. Apapavidam means one who cannot be touched or contaminated by any vikarmic or sinful activities. This is the unique position of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, because sometimes some mundane persons or mental speculators or jnanis will look at the different shastras, such as the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, and they try to enter into the rasa krida, the rasa dance, the rasa lila. The problem with such artificial attempts, such immature attempts, is that unless one is guided and under the control and supervision of a bona fide, fully realized pure devotee, it is very difficult to comprehend Krishna's activities. As a matter of fact, it is impossible. This was the instruction of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to one of his foremost devotees, Ramananda Roy. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was getting ready for his South Indian trip, Vyāsadeva Sarvabhauma, who by that time had been converted by the association of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Vyāsadeva Sarvabhauma advised Lord Chaitanya that you should find out this Ramananda Roy. He's the governor of Madras, but he's a very good devotee. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went on his tour, and on the bank of the Godavari River, he found this Ramananda Roy. And there was very lively discussion between Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and this Ramananda Roy. It's quite significant for those who have read this that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Ramananda that go on. He kept rejecting many of the suggestions of Ramananda Roy about this path, this approach, that approach. But when Ramananda Roy quoted a specific verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, Sthani stitaha shrutigatan tanuvan manobhir, ye prayasa jito ajito si paistrilokyam. That you should, this is a verse from the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the 10th canto, where it described that one should remain in whatever occupation he may be, whatever place he may be, and hear the message of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from pure devotees. And by doing that, Lord Krishna, who is known as Ajita means one who cannot be conquered by anyone. All of you have read the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the Krishna book, the activities of Lord Krishna. And there are so many different activities where Lord Krishna fought with various demonic elements and defeated them. No one can counter Krishna. But by this practice of hearing the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam from the mouth of a pure realized devotee, the Ajita will become Jita, one can conquer and obtain the mercy of Lord Krishna. This was the real message of the Lord Chaitanya discussion with Sri Ramananda Roy. Now, why are we mentioning this? Because there are many people who take up to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam as a business. They take it as what's called Bhagavat Saptaha, because the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam originally took 7 days to be recited by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. So some people take it that we will recite in some kind of imitation Bhagavat Saptaha. But Prabhupada criticized that whole concept. We see in the beginning of these verses that we read, these Sanskrit verses, prior to the recitation of Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, then it says, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. It is not just 7 days, it is constant service to the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam and the pure devotee Bhagavata. Because by this approach, one will be able to understand Krishna. Now, I sent out an email before this class where Śrīla Prabhupada was describing the position of a group in Bengal called the Nityananda Vamsa. Now, this is very important because it has current relevance to another Vamsa, to another so-called dynasty that many people are experiencing. And again, I don't want it to be taken to be misinterpreted that we're attacking a specific group or a specific institution or a specific assembly of devotees. No, that is not the idea here. What we're trying to explain is the basic fundamental principle. And let me read from Śrīla Prabhupada himself. This was a discussion by Śrīla Prabhupada. The reference, let me get the reference first. in 1976, during the New York court case, the brainwash court case. The conversation took place in Vrindavan on November 2nd, 1976. November 2nd, 1976. With that conversation, Prabhupada is talking about the Nityananda Vamsha. Prabhupada says, the Goswamis, they are Sri Chaitanya Kripa Baru. Now prove. They are descendants. Now prove. Come forward. Sri Chaitanya Kripa Baru. Simply sitting at home, and in Bengal there is Nityananda Vamsha. What is Nityananda Vamsha? Nityananda went forward before Jagai Madai, and he was hurt. Blood came out. Where is that Nityananda Vamsha? Fight between Jagai and Madai and Nityananda. That is Nityananda Vamsha. Simply taking advantage of coming from Nityananda Vamsha. I have become guru. Give me your money and sit down. Let me enjoy life with my wife and children, or nowadays with their disciples. That kind of Nityananda Vamsha will not help. Come forward to fight. This fighting is now here. Prabhupada was appealing to different groups of people to unite. Prabhupada says in that conversation, now you appeared to be educated gentlemen. You combine all the Gaudiya Vaishnava Goswamis and come with me to fight, because there is a world fight now. They are threatened. Their whole civilization is threatened by this movement. That is the position now. Whole Europe and America, they're combining. They're intelligent person. They see that this movement is spreading like epidemic. They have admitted, some of them, if this movement is allowed to advance, then someday they will take our government. They have expressed that feeling, and now they are preparing to fight out. All these fathers of these young men, they are combining together to charge me that I'm kidnapping their boys. So it is a serious situation. You should not see simply the fun and claim to belong to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Now you should come out to fight. Am I wrong or right? Yes, you are right. Śrīla Prabhupada didn't do that. Hold a meeting amongst the Gaudiya Vaishnavas here, and I will explain the position. Now we should combine together and fight. As soon as you introduce something strong, there will be fight. There will be fight. Even Krishna had to see the fight, Kurukshetra. Dharmakshetre, Kurukshetre, Samaveta Yuyutsavaha, Bhagavad Gita 1:1. The fight must be there, Yuyutsavaha. So if you belong to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's party, then you should come out to fight. Whatever done is done, and it is done single-handed. Nobody has helped me, even not my god brother. These American boys, they have helped me. They understood the philosophy and they helped me. Rather, they're criticizing that I'm making these American boys sannyasi and giving them sacred thread. They're criticizing. What is your opinion? Now, the principle here is Śrīla Prabhupada was appealing to all the educated devotees in Vrindavan, those who were claiming to be followers of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in distinguished position of local Goswamis, to join the fight to preserve Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement and preach Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement against the demonic attacks of these people that were in the courts in America at the time, the deprogrammers and their supporters. They even came to Toronto, Canada, and Vishwakarma had to confront one of the leaders of those groups. The point being, what Prabhupada is saying, it is not enough for devotees to think, oh, I'm part of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement. Let me just have a nice, easy life of eat and sleep. Thank you very much. Like the Nityananda Vamsha. Simply take money and go eat and sleep. We see plenty of that. This is not a personal attack on anyone. It is a statement of fact. Because yesterday we were discussing how some people are claiming in a monopoly on the Maha Mantra, on the Hare Krishna movement, that because we are so-called owners of some trademark or some copyright, nobody else used the name Krishna. That would be like some Christian claiming that only I can use the name of Jesus or Jesus Christ and nobody else should use it because I've recorded it in some bureaucratic office somewhere. No, that is nonsense. Prabhupada's argument in 1969 in a letter to Dinesh Das, one of his disciples, is you cannot copyright the Maha Mantra or Lord Chaitanya's movement. The Maha Mantra is eternal. This is described in the Upanishads, in the Kali Santarana Upanishad. The origin of the Maha Mantra is given there, that these 16 names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Iti Shodashakam Nam. Shodashakam is these 16 names. Kali Kalmasha Nasanam. This is Lord Brahma speaking to Nārada Muni, his chief disciples, that this will annihilate, will purge out all the contamination, Kali, of the age of Kali, Nasanam. Nata Parataropeyaha. There is no superior means of spiritualization. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. This is the instruction of all the Vedas. Sarva Vedeshu Drishyate. This is originally in the Vedas, in the Kali Santarana Upanishad. So any foolish person who tries to copyright the Maha Mantra or the Hare Krishna movement is no better than the Nityananda Vamsha or some foolish caste Goswamis. Nobody should be fooled by their efforts. Nobody should be fooled by their monopoly and their attempt to falsely control the Maha Mantra or the Hare Krishna movement. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you very much, Hare Krishna, for that wonderful explanation of today's verse from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam, the original Delhi versions, which must be noted were written pre-1965 by Śrīla Prabhupāda, and give us insight into the level of spiritual transcendental knowledge that Śrīla Prabhupāda had back then, and how he had developed himself as a pure devotee all throughout his life. And his mission in America was simply a extension of that realization of his position as the servant of Krishna. And it's interesting to note about remnants of prasadam, how sacred remnants of prasadam are from the pure devotee of the Lord, because that is called orts or remnants of spiritual food, and it's a very auspicious experience for us to have the opportunity to get remnants. And some of us in this gathering were fortunate enough to get this prasadam from Śrīla Prabhupāda. Actually, I mentioned this earlier, Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, that the first time that I met Śrīla Prabhupāda in Detroit in 1971, the opportunity to get prasadam from him was given to me. Actually, I was Bhakta Bobby in Detroit. I went down from Hamilton, Ontario, for the initiation ceremony in Detroit, Michigan, on Jefferson Avenue. And it was a grand initiation, by the way. Devotees from all over that area came to see Śrīla Prabhupada. The temple was packed with people. And the night before, there was great preparation going on. For us that were members back then, it was actually a huge job that with so many things that had to be done to prepare for Śrīla Prabhupada's visit. And they were painting the house and gathering the flowers and cooking the prasadam, and everything was just an explosion of activity. And I was the temple commander back then in Hamilton. I was cleaning the bathrooms there. I guess I did a good job. So I got recommended to clean Prabhupada's bathroom in an apartment that was being used by him next door. So I went over, I cleaned the bathroom. I did the best job I possibly could. And I was invited as a reward to come to his room for a private darshan. And so we went to the room. This was pre my initiation. And they had brought in a huge plate of prasadam for Śrīla Prabhupada. You know, it was far beyond the ability of one person to eat. And Prabhupada was very austere. So he made a gesture and took a few pieces of prasadam off the huge platter. And then he looked at all of us and he said, "Please go ahead, have some prasadam." And everybody sat still, frozen in time. Nobody knew what to do. I know I was sitting there. I thought, there's no way I'm getting up and going near that plate. Especially in my role as a Mr. Nobody there. So Prabhupada looked at all of us. And this is a very important instruction that I've never forgotten all my life. From that first meeting with Prabhupada, he looked at all of us and he said, "Take this prasadam. One should never be shy when doing business or taking prasadam." Very important instruction for all of us. Even today, don't be shy when you have a chance to get the mercy of the spiritual master. And we all got up. I got up. I went over with the crowd. We all got up at once and all went around the desk, and everyone took a little piece of prasadam. And we relished the remnants of the leftovers from the bona fide spiritual master A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. Such mercy. I have quite a few stories of prasadam. I had multiple occasions of getting prasadam from Śrīla Prabhupāda's plate. But there is one interesting story I wanted to relate of us in Mayapur back in 1974. Now, Mayapur was a magical place back then for all of us, even though there was only one building that had been constructed in the middle of the field. And we were staying at the wall that had been constructed on the outer portion of the compound. And it was austere. There was no washrooms. It was just cement floors. I think it was 10 of us staying in the room. We just rolled out our sleeping bags, and there was some kind of latrine, outhouse there for using. It wasn't really our standard, but everybody was ready to accept any austerity to be with Śrīla Prabhupada. But there were people living in the main building, and the GBC were there, of course. They weren't sleeping on the floors. We were just the devotees that were working to spread the mission, going on Sankirtan and performing all kinds of austerities in different parts of the world. But so we weren't allowed to, there wasn't really any room for us. That was okay. And then what was happening was they were confiscating all of the remnants from Śrīla Prabhupada just for the GBC. They were the ones that were selected. So my friend, actually it was 1975, not 74, because my friend Uttama Shloka, myself and him had joined the movement together back in 1971. So he came up with a plan that we would steal the prasadam from the kitchen for the GBC and take it ourselves. And this was quite a bold plan. It was a transcendental plan, and there was no harm in doing that. It's really transcendental robbery. So we went, and he conceived of a plan how to do it. So on the second floor was the kitchen. And so when the prasadam had been sent up to Prabhupada's room and he had taken the remnants, it was brought down to the kitchen on the second floor. And I acted as the guard, and then Uttama Shloka, he went upstairs and he contrived a story that he was picking up the prasadam to take it to the GBC. So the cook was innocent. He gave the whole plate, the entire plate of prasadam to Uttama Shloka. And Uttama Shloka went down the hallway this way, and I was watching to make sure no one came down from either side. And then we darted down the stairs of the Mayapur building and ran out into the middle of the property and hid in the bush. And there was another devotee with us, and we invited him to come along with us, and we all ran into the bush. There was 3 of us. And we had the whole plate of Mahaprasadam Krishna Katha, the entire plate of leftovers. And I remember specifically taking the sugar cane. Prabhupada had sugar cane on the plate that he had chewed. And I took that sugar cane that had been chewed by Śrīla Prabhupada. I ate it with great joy and happiness. And we looked back. I still remember looking at the majestic building thinking, uh-oh, we're going to get in trouble for this. And sure enough, when they found out what happened, of course, they found out that they were outraged, but they could not do anything. Because we, by mercy of Lord Chaitanya and Śrīla Prabhupada, got the remnants of the pure devotee, and that is never a sin. That is not thievery. That is transcendental ecstasy. So it was a very wonderful mercy that took place back then, and the atmosphere there, Prabhu's, was amazing. It was surcharged with the presence of the pure devotee, Śrīla Prabhupada, who inspired everyone every year to take up the mission under his enthusiastic guidance and direction and spread it worldwide, and then come back every year and celebrate with him in Mayapur Dham, the birthplace of Lord Chaitanya. And just before we pass the baton back to our godbrother Yaśodā, I wanted to read a very important section from Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam again, text 23, chapter 5 of the first canto. Text 23 of chapter 5 of the first canto, from the purport. Therefore, the illusion of Maya is at once dissipated as soon as one's full energy is converted in the service of the Lord instead of in the matter of sense gratification. From the personal example of Sri Narada Muni in his previous birth, it is clear that the service of the Lord begins with the service of the Lord's bona fide servants. The Lord says that the service of his servants is more than his personal service. Service of the devotee is more valuable than the service of the Lord. One should therefore choose out a bona fide servant of the Lord, constantly engaged in his service, and accept such service as the spiritual master, and engage himself in his, the spiritual master's service. Such spiritual master is the transparent medium to visualize the Lord, who is beyond the conception of the material senses. By service of the bona fide spiritual master, the Lord consents to reveal himself in proportion of service rendered. Utilization of the human energy in the service of the Lord is the progressive path of salvation. The whole cosmic creation becomes at once identical with the Lord as soon as the respective service in relation with the Lord is rendered under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master. The expert spiritual master knows the art of how to utilize everything in the matter of glorifying the Lord, and therefore under his guidance, the whole world can be turned into the spiritual abode by his divine grace of the Lord's servant. So this is the essence of philosophy in terms of the disciple of A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupāda. This is the key to the mystery of spiritual life that we're protecting in the Prabhupada Disciples Association and the Hare Krishna Society. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further comment.
Well, thank you for this reading. That was a very, very important verse. And this brings up to the question that we've discussed before. What is the difference between bhoga, or unoffered foodstuff, and prasadam, which is foodstuff after it has been offered to the Lord with love and devotion, becomes prasadam? We've just put a little quote from Śrīla Prabhupāda on the chat, where Prabhupada explained, the Indian gentleman asked Śrīla Prabhupada, what is the importance of prasadam? Prabhupada, prasada means mercy. Prasada means prakishta rupena siddhati. That is prasada, means completely satisfied. Indian, at the end of this, you will give us some prasad. What is the importance of that prasad? Prabhupada, oh, that, yes, prasad, very good. That prasad is Krishna's favor, Krishna's special favor. That is prasada. Prasada sarva dukkhanam anorasya upajayate. If we simply eat Krishna's prasada without any culture, we can get spiritual knowledge. All right, let us have some kirtan. And what we're reading today is the story of Nārada Muni, that simply by taking the remnants of food of the Bhaktivedantas in the association of pure devotees became purified. Now, some people have asked the question, why is it that you and Vishwakarma and other people with Hare Krishna Society have occasionally criticized people in ISKCON for offering the foodstuff to their spiritual advisors? Well, the problem is we have to ask ourselves the question. It's not a difficult question. What is the system and what were the instructions from Śrīla Prabhupada himself of how we should offer the bhoga so that it becomes prasadam? What did they do after Prabhupada departed? They manufactured another interpretation, again, because of this foolish idea of some so-called appointment of living gurus, which was never established by Prabhupada, that somewhere or other people have to go to their living gurus in order for the foodstuff to become prasadam. But Prabhupada, from 1965, from the moment he was off the boat in Boston, Massachusetts, till the 14th of November, 1977 in Vrindavan, never gave any specific instruction to change the method of offering the bhoga so it would become prasadam. Of course, the principle of offering with love and devotion, that is mentioned by Lord Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. Patram pushpam palam toyam yome bhaktya prayachati. We all know that. But there are specific mantras Prabhupada introduced, a specific method to offer, and they undid all that under the plea that we are now following Hari Bhakti Vilas. Well, you may be following whatever Vilas you think you're following. If you disobey Prabhupada's instruction, that is not prasadam. You cannot insult the Acharya, disobey the Acharya, disregard the instruction of the Acharya, and think, oh, this is very nice prasadam. Who is this offered to? How did you offer it? You disregarded Prabhupada's instruction and you think that this is prasadam? No, it's not. It only becomes prasadam when we follow the direct, specific instruction of the Acharya, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
That's right. It's a transcendental movement based on sound and direction given by the bona fide spiritual master. And that has to be very carefully learnt and followed without any compromise. Krishna Katha, we're going to bring some of our members of our panel up to speak. Krishna Katha, Paranjana, and I wanted to call on Sama Giri Prabhu, who's made some very interesting comments on the chat for us. First, we'll start with Krishna Katha Prabhu, if he could further elaborate on the principles today. Thank you.
Hare Krishna, all glories to the assembled devotees who are, tuning in to this wonderful sacrifice that both you and Yaśodā-nandana do 3 times a week for our benefit and for everyone's benefit that can not necessarily tune in live, but to catch the nectar later on the YouTube channel, which I do occasionally just to hear it all again, because it's always ever fresh when you speak absolute truth. And both of you have been blessed by Śrīla Prabhupada to deliver his message unchanged. And that was Prabhupada's miracle. I remember there was I think it was a journalist or some, news person was asking him, what is your miracle? And Prabhupada just said, my miracle is that I've not changed a single word of my spiritual master. I'm delivering the message exactly how he said it to me. And that is our mission. That is our every word. Our breath is to just repeat. And so simple, right? We don't have this change disease. I mean, we might have had it, but we don't have it now. And I'm very enlivened to be a part of your mission, both of you, to print Prabhupada's original books. Seems like it's slow going, but it's because Krishna has taken charge of this great desire. And he will, as we know, we have faith. He will manifest our desire in the form of hardbound books at some point in our future. And it will be the beginning of, I hope, the floodgates opening up to print more and more and more. So I really don't have any specific realization about today's principles other than it's just such a pleasure eternally to absorb as much as possible from these classes, yesterday's class and today's. And oftentimes the realizations come later, right? They come up for me later. And that's the beauty of hearing, right? That's our system. You can hear this transcendental knowledge for the rest of time, right? For eternity. And it's always ever fresh. It's always enlivening and enlightening because it is non-different than Krishna himself. So I appreciate both of you so much and all the assembled devotees. I'm just here to serve, and you just tell me how, and I'll do my best to deliver. All glories to Śrīla Prabhupada, and all glories to Lord Balaram. Tomorrow, his appearance day. It's super exciting. Hare Krishna. Jai.
Thank you very much. Yes, a devotee sees with his ears. So
That's right.
this is the science of sound and transcendental sound being delivered by Śrīla Prabhupada to all of us in this group, and for us to disseminate it to others. I see that Paranjana Prabhu has put up an interesting post on our chat further to the discussion about the Hare Krishna mantra, or the Krishna, name of Krishna, being copyrighted by some kind of group. Paranjana Prabhu, maybe you could further discuss this topic.
Hello, Haribo, can you hear me?
Yes, we do.
Okay. Yeah, I think that the the effort by the leaders of Australia to claim copyright over Hare Krishna is really backfiring. I'm seeing a lot of negative comments from people saying, oh no, this is another example of overextending and overreach by the the leaders of ISKCON. But it's actually a good thing, I believe, because it's showing how desperate they are. If they have to claim we own the copyright, but why are they going after this temple? And the reason is that this temple became independent from the GBC. They didn't agree with a lot of the standards, and Australia is famous for having a lot of problems with the leaders. So they just wanted to cut themselves off and actually make a Prabhupada temple. And so they just called themselves Hare Krishna, naturally. And so the real problem is that they're breaking away from the GBC authority, and so now they're clawing and scraping and trying to gain control of this building. They're saying you need to sign the building over to us, and then you can use Hare Krishna. I don't think it's going to work. I think it's going to backfire. There's some very good devotees down there that are working on this legally, already. So it's going to backfire. But as far as Prasadam goes, yeah, at the very beginning of, the GBC enterprise, I began to complain. I said, if we offer food to Jayatirtha, it will become Jayatirtha-ized and not Krishna-ized. So, they were offering food to Jayatirtha. They had a picture of Jayatirtha on the altar, and I said, this isn't going to work. This is not the process, and it's not going to be accepted by Krishna. And I was actually trained by Prabhupada at one time. We were installing the deities in India that were going to be shipped to the United States. And Prabhupada personally told me, you cannot change the system of offering. If there's the slightest change, any impurity, any imperfection, Krishna will not accept it. So I tried to bring that up, and of course I got shut down and silenced and all the rest of it. And I think I've told you this before. I had a lady friend who was formerly a witch, and she was into black magic and all that stuff. And she says, yeah, making offerings to, deviant beings is part of witchcraft. It contaminates the food on purpose. And, that way they can contaminate people and make them sick, or, put evil, spells on people by contaminating the food. So she said the GBC is following one of the black magic principles of witchcraft. And she believes many of them, or even most of them, are black magic people. She says they really understand the principles of black magic, and they exercise it and use it very well in ISKCON. And that's one of the reasons she believes so many people get bewildered, because they're eating food that's contaminated. How did all these Prabhupada devotees just go along with all this because they were just eating and eating every day this black magic cursed food. And it was contaminating their brains, and it made it impossible for them to think clearly, about things. And one last thing I wanted to mention was Shravananda. He departed recently, and he was dying. He had some tumors, and as he was talking, those tumors were breaking up, and blood was coming out of his mouth. And the last thing he said was, "I really hope that Prabhupada's original books will be preserved." That was his last words just before he left his body. So I think it's very important that we also realize there are people out there that have a lot of sympathy for what we're doing and trying to do, and they may not be as outspoken as we are, but they sympathize with what we're doing, and he is certainly one of those people. And that's basically all I wanted to say, Haribol.
Thank you. Very, very insightful. And I wanted to mention that we are moving ahead with the plan to preserve Śrīla Prabhupāda's books in their unedited form, unadulterated form in Italy. We have a very active group there headed up by Vijaya Pandit Prabhu. And he's very sincere and serious about this process of protecting Prabhupada's legacy in his books. And in France, the French Bhagavad Gita, the original one, with our god brother Bhaktivedanta, who is very serious and very sincere as a disciple of Śrīla Prabhupada. And he is also ambitious to do that, and we are going to work with him and cooperate with him to help him do that. And we're also working in affiliation. I've mentioned this before. We're planning this large initiation. We expect I would think, about 500 devotees to come to the initiation ceremony in February of 2025. That Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu will be traveling by plane to Mexico to perform, and I'll be there as well, and all of the God brothers and God sisters that want to assemble there with us to celebrate Prabhupada's legacy. So that is a big program that we're going to be participating in, I should say. And at the same time, we want to support his work in the Spanish-speaking countries for the publication of Prabhupada's literature. And then we're, of course, working in the English-speaking part of the world to present the Bhagavatam and hopefully some other literatures that are appropriate for us by Śrīla Prabhupada in their unedited, unadulterated form, like Easy Journey to Other Planets, Sri Upanishad, like that. We have different goals set out for those publications. So many things going on with the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society, in our efforts to fight against the illusions that have been perpetrated in Prabhupada's mission. It's like the clouds. They can cover the sun, but the sun is never covered. So there are clouds that are covering the sunshine. Prabhupada is the sunshine. The clouds are there. But eventually, the clouds will dissipate and go away, and the sun will shine, and that is our hope. Somagiri Prabhu, you've made some comments in the chat and are very supportive of our work. Would you like to speak for a minute? Do you have access to your microphone, or is it impossible for you to do that? Somagiri Prabhu, are you there? No, he's not. Yaśodā-nandana Prabhu, if you could further elaborate on the comments.
Well, thank you very much for your description of the efforts of the Prabhupada Disciples Association, Hare Krishna Society. I just want to mention a few points about Krishna Katha's short speech. Although it is taking a little bit of time for us to get these books printed because of litigation that is going on in India by the usual suspects, the GBC, and their henchmen, the so-called BBT in India, who is suing KBI and other related parties, claiming exclusive ownership of the copyrights, and that is before the Indian courts. That has delayed the printing a little bit, but we're still making efforts and having discussions, our best to utilize the money that was donated to get the best transactional deal to print these literatures. It will be done eventually. Well, one point also with regards to Puranjan about the Prasadam. This is very important. When Garga Muni was in Calcutta, there was some complaints from some of the Marwari life members that different devotees would go into different Indian restaurants to buy some dal and rice and chapatis because they didn't have proper cooking facilities in a temple. So what Garga Muni did is he found a Marwari cook who was very expert to cook on the little coal stove. I don't know if some of those of you who have been in India, they have these little coal stove, and some of these expert cooks, they're able to cook dal, rice, chapatis, vegetable for 20, 30, 40, 100 people in a very efficient way with just a little coal stove, which is about 1.5 feet, 2 feet high. To put some coal in there, it gets warm. So this Marwari cook was very, very expert in cooking. Garga Muni hired him, and then he explained to Prabhupada that with this Marwari, he comes from a Vaishnava family, he's cooking and we offer everything. And Prabhupada was very happy with the arrangement. Prabhupada consented to the arrangement under that specific circumstance. And it was first-class prasadam and all this eating outside stopped. Because the life members were upset. They say sadhus should not take food from these kind of people, the street people. You should cook your own food. But American devotees didn't know how to deal with the heat, the little coal stove or anything, because in America, we got this electric stove or gas stove. Over there, the little coal stove, it's not easy to learn how to cook with that. So Prabhupada did approve of that. And the point is that I want to say, when Prabhupada told Puranjan, the system of offering should not be changed in any way. This has been repeated by Śrīla Prabhupada in so many times. So many circumstances. There's a famous letter to a devotee named Dhruvananda, where Prabhupada expressed that the greatest danger to our movement is when we invent new ways to worship the deities. And this concoction that has appeared and surfaced after 1977 of changing the way that Śrīla Prabhupada taught, instructed, and introduced in his movement of how to offer the bogus so that it becomes bona fide prasadam. This is very insidious and dangerous. In 1990, there was even a person who was a disciple of one of gurus in Mayapur who went around to different temples charging people money for ghost busting pujas, claiming that everybody had been affected by ghosts. Of course, for a fee and a certain monetary payment, he would do a special puja to clear the ghost. Another nonsense concoction. What about the Maha Mantra? You don't think the Maha Mantra can clear ghosts? In other words, all of these post-1977 concoctions have nothing to do with Śrīla Prabhupada's movement. These are all nonsense ideas. Whether hiring of tantrics to harm devotees in South India, whether getting some nonsense person to do some ghost-chasing pujas with their so-called vibhuti, to this concoction of offering prasadam with God knows where they got these ideas from. Don't be misled, thinking that the instructions of Śrīla Prabhupada are no longer relevant after 1977. They're still relevant right today. Everybody can take advantage of these instructions, follow these instructions, and directly associate with Śrīla Prabhupada. Thank you very much. I believe our good friend Nilesh Sharma was waiting also.
I think he's gone. So we're going to carry on with our program next week on Wednesday with the Chaitanya Charitamrita reading and discussion. And this world of spiritual life exists in the houses, the homes, in the hearts of the devotees that practice them. Because there is a wealth of information there for us to embrace in our daily life. And that is our job as disciplined students of the spiritual master. So, our focus on directing people toward Śrīla Prabhupada is for them to participate in the spiritual activity, to enable them to become advanced in spiritual life. That's simply the mission for all of us to take it up and be serious students of the practice. And in this way, everything will be revealed to us moving forward. So let's finish up the program. It's already 11:37. And thank you everyone for attending, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on Wednesday. We'll have the chanting of Hare Krishna for a couple of minutes by Śrīla Prabhupada, and then the ending script that's been created by Bhaktivedanta. All glories to the Sankirtan mission.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Let us offer our respectful obeisances to all the assembled Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. Vanchakalpa tarubhyascha kripa sindubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavibhyo Namo Namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances. We all offer our respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord who can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and who are full of compassion for the fallen souls. Thanks everybody for participating in this lively program. We greatly appreciate your presence. We welcome you on Wednesday afternoon at 5:00 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, corresponding to 8:00 p.m. Florida time and Hamilton, Ontario, Canada time, for a reading on Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Thank you, Krishna Kata Prabhu, for your comments. Thanks, Venkat Bhatta Prabhu, for hosting the program, Vishwakarma Prabhu for managing the program, and everybody, Rupa Manjari Mataji, Pran Mohini Mataji, Bhakta Rupech, Vijay Pandit in Italy, come va, come va, molto bene.
Molto bene, grazie.
Tutte le glorie, sua divina grazia, Śrīla Prabhupāda. Grazie Italia, grazie, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna. Gopika Mataji, Pranam, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,